Starbucks has been hit with a number of controversies in recent years, from no pumpkin spice in their pumpkin spice latte to suspicious working conditions, all the way to alleged child abuse laws. But actually, the boycott is long overdue. Let's get into it. When the first store opened all the way back in 1971, and with Howard Schultz joining the company 10 years later, the core values of Starbucks were loudly claimed as community, quality coffee, and a workplace built on trust. Anyone who works or who has ever worked in the hospitality industry knows that those workers don't always get the best treatment. Starbucks stands out in having very successfully fostered a highly competitive work environment, an environment which makes it near impossible for any of them to thrive in. For years, employees have repeatedly reported issues to their managers such as understaffing, cut hours, broken equipment, and poor management, all to no avail. Many of Starbucks baristas are on minimum wage, and most have to choose between paying rent or buying food. The result is that more and more staff are joining a union. One of the turning points for Starbucks was in 2020, when everybody had to wear face masks in order to enter the shops. The employees took their temperature at the beginning of every shift and kept as much personal distance between colleagues as possible. But they couldn't control their customers. There are plenty of cases where customers have verbally assaulted Starbucks employees, and in some cases, physical altercations have taken place, all for being asked to wear a mask.
Round 1. Fight!
Such negligence towards employees has resulted in the worker-formed Starbucks Workers Union, which was established in August of 21. Now we're going to stay on this for a moment. Unlike what my American viewers have been told, unions are actually a great thing.
Unions balance the power of workers with corporations.
Originating in the UK, trade unions became popular in many countries around the world during the Industrial Revolution, when employment became the primary mode of earning a living, until Margaret Thatcher scored a victory against the National Union of Mine Workers in 1985. With this victory, trade unions' power was significantly reduced. But fear not, it set the precedent for the working time regulations from 1998. The most prominent union, Starbucks Workers United, has conducted strikes at over 190 store locations. It is alleged that union-based Starbucks stores are frequently targeted by Starbucks management. One ex-employee states that Starbucks went to extreme lengths to make an example of any employees who wanted to unionize, including but not limited to not intervening when customers were harassing the workers. The company has more than over 400 wrongful labor practices, for which workers are paying the price. Pro-union employees have faced wrongful termination, reduced hours, and continued penalization for minor infractions such as being late.
Get this improper call out. I'm in the hospital. A call out a different time because my aunt died.
All the workers on strike are asking for is better pay, regular scheduled breaks, functioning equipment. Howard Schultz led his anti-union defense to Congress. Faced with the heat of the company's union-busting tactics, Schultz stated that although union stores and their partners are recognized, their relationship with Starbucks isn't. I have the right and the company has the right to have a preference, and our preference is to maintain the direct relationship we've had with our employees.
But what about you and me? The bond?
There is no bond. You're not a bad person, but I'm afraid to say you are a moron.
With Brian Niccol having taken over as CEO, it doesn't look like pay and break will be agreed upon at any time soon. Senator Bernie Sanders wrote on social media, "If you're the Starbucks CEO, you get $96 million for 4 months of work, including a $5 million bonus." Niccol's priority has been to launch a new campaign, trying to recapture the glory days of Starbucks, titled Back to Starbucks, which includes better customer services, decreased waiting times, and improving in-store experiences. Before there's an agreement to the proposed wage increase, there's one more reasonable demand: personalized messages on every Starbucks cup. No stone will be left unturned. No idea is too outlandish. Anything to prevent having to pay his workers $1 more per hour.
Some serious diarrhea can ensue. In fact, nutritionists say, yeah, that's not a big surprise. It's olive oil, for goodness sake.
Starbucks claims to not hate unions, but their actions clearly speak a different truth. With the first union battle dating back to the 1980s and continuing into now, it's a different story for the employees they claim to care about.
Family, religion, friendship. These are the three demons you must slay if you wish to succeed in business.
And as always, there's another issue at play, the need for a third place. The term coined by the sociologist Ray Oldenburg to describe places that are neither home nor work. They are also places that allow visitors to keep a low profile, but also welcome their regulars. About being in the 2020s and people not really liking each other anymore, that doesn't mean that the human need for such a space has gone away. On the profit loss of Starbucks, Brian Nichols has said, "We're unable to create the physical environment our customers and partners expect." The announcement that Starbucks will close 1% of its North American stores, this amounts to 900 corporative layoffs. It's part of the $1 billion restructuring plan. Another reason why people are turning their backs on Starbucks is that people don't like those who don't pay their taxes. In 2024, Starbucks reportedly paid no corporation tax because they made no profit, or so they claimed. However, they did find £40 million left over in royalty and license fees to pay to their parent company.
Daddy, I love him!
Throughout the whole 2010s, Starbucks has reverted to this tactic. In 2012, they paid about £8.6 million taxes on an estimated profit of £3 billion. But there was one market that Starbucks never managed to crack: Down Under. In 2008, Starbucks closed 2/3 of its stores in Australia. In the first 7 years of having opened, Starbucks lost over $105 million. What Starbucks and Howard Schultz didn't consider was that Australia has its own long-established coffee drinking culture. Introduced by the British in 1788, it developed into a thriving business which was heavily influenced by Greek and Italian immigrants after World War II. Just a few years ago, most Starbucks stores looked inviting and cozy, but now they just look sterile, and it's obvious they don't want you loitering around. The fact that the drive-thru also gets preferential treatment over those who showed up in person is also not helping their business. Who doesn't love to have their name spelled incorrectly? This was originally a marketing tactic to get people to post their misspelled name on social media. Several unfortunate incidences have also occurred in Starbucks over the years, including in February of 2020, where a man was severely burned by hot tea passed to him. The man sustained third-degree burns to his hands, stomach, and genitals. 5 years later, a jury found Starbucks liable for negligence, and the man was awarded $50 million by Starbucks. Starbucks said that whilst they sympathized with the man, they planned to appeal. "We disagree with the jury's decision that we were at fault for this incident and believe the damages awarded to be excessive." Meanwhile, the National Consumers League is pushing forward with its lawsuit from January of 2024, challenging the Starbucks statement that everything is ethically sourced. Starbucks has been delaying this court case, most recently trying to have it dismissed. NCL is arguing that Starbucks' 100% ethical claim doesn't match the reality of its supply chain, which includes farms linked to child labour and other serious abuses. The lawsuit is being closely monitored by companies and consumers alike, because it tests how far companies can go in using ethical sourcing claims without facing legal consequences. As an example, in 2022, 17 workers, including 3 minors, were rescued by Brazilian inspectors from modern slavery, according to Reporter Brazil, at a coffee farm managed by a man whose coffee roaster company received Starbucks' seal of certification a month earlier. Since Starbucks don't have to publicly list their suppliers, I couldn't find any suppliers that are guilty of child labour practices. In an earlier statement, Starbucks said, "We take allegations like these extremely seriously and are actively engaged with farms to ensure they adhere to our standards." With no major company being able to keep their nose out of anything political nowadays, why would Starbucks be any different? The hashtag Race Together was a nice idea, but went horribly wrong. CEO Howard Schultz thought the world needed to discuss the problems surrounding different races in order to understand each other better. What better way to talk about race than over a nice cup of coffee with beans extracted through the labour of children. Allegedly. The perceived price and value for money are something that Starbucks have failed to keep up with. Starbucks has always been expensive, but people were willing to turn a blind eye. People thought they were getting more value for their money. Public perception is everything for companies. Some of the facts of this video can be applied to McDonald's, the city of Las Vegas, or Burger King, but no company has been hit quite as hard with disapproval than Starbucks in recent years. The bad press between Starbucks union workers and the former CEO have knocked Starbucks down.